the Young Turks mentors.
Back in 2010, a husband-wife duo sold their apartment to set up a business. They got 45 lakhs for that apartment, and they made a lot of quirky magnets. Husband, in a moment of doubt, asked his wife, what happens? We don't have a house, but we have all of these magnets. What are we going to do? Wife says, don't worry, we'll sell them at cost to all our friends and family over a period of time, and we'll recover our money. She ended by saying, what is it? It's just money, right? We'll get it back. When we featured them in 2010, Chumbak had made many times that 45 lakhs already. They are one of India's most recognizable quirky brands. Let's invite Vivek Prabhakar, co-founder of Chumbak, on stage.
Hi, I'm the only one I think who got slides. We're a very visual company, so just bear with me for the slides that we've got, right? So I'm going to just quickly introduce myself. My name's Vivek. I work at this company, and I founded this company along with my wife Shubhra about 5 years ago. Chumbak, we're based out of Bangalore, and proud to be based out of Bangalore, lovely weather and so on and so forth. I'm going to just go back and, in time a little bit and little bit of history. I've always had a lot of career options in my mind, or I thought. And, if you look at the chart, train driver, ice cream taster, pilot. But in the end, I think the Batman is what I wanted to be. Standing here right now, not Batman, promise. But I did have at the age 6 my Batmobile. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit moving on from school, and let's talk about talent. So, I got into school and I realized that there are two types of talents, right? Talents that I possess, really random talents that I could twirl a basketball on my finger without dropping it for a minute. And then there are separate talents that make money. Anyone who studied math, not me, will realize that there's no Venn diagram in between that I'm making money over here at all. So for the longest of time, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do in life. School finished, coming into education, joined college. College was, of all the most random things that I picked up in college, was economics and industrial relations. But anyone who was studied in Bangalore in the mid-90s knew that mainly it's about the beer and nothing else. In fact, I'm still waiting for the day that, my whiteboards at Chumbak looks like something like this. Studied all kinds of random stuff in college, but never used it. I'm from Bangalore. I will update that the moment we have a Bangalore metro. What we have today is the Indiranagar metro and the Malleshwaram metro, right? And what I believe is the world's easiest, all of you have seen the London metro, Singapore, or Hong Kong, or wherever. I believe Bangalore has the world's easiest metro map to remember. There it is, and it's an actual picture. So, souvenirs was what sparked the idea of Chumbak, saying that let's figure out how we can do away with all of this. This was the kind of stuff that maybe Genghis Khan took away in 1700. And it continued to be there in 2009 when we started spending some time and saying, hey, we can do better stuff than this. And the entire idea was, listen, let's add color to India, right? And that was the premise of what we started out with. And then Chumbak happened. We started out in 2010. And just a quick recap for those of you who don't know what we do. These are the things that we do. So we do product all the way from home stuff to more home stuff, furniture to even dining. And so we moved away from the whole just the furniture, just the magnet keychain and the kind of souvenirs that we spoke about 2 years after we started. And this is the kind of stuff that we do now. Just a quick wrap. So basically I'm saying these are the 10 things that we've learned while we've been at Chumbak and the journey that's this thing. Or what I say, this is how we do what we do, right? I think the first thing that I'd like to talk about is get your hands dirty, right? So I think one of the things that we learned on very early on in life is that unless you yourself do the work, you're not going to be able to scale going forward, and people will start taking you for granted. A random example, right? In the first 2 years, the warehouse ran out of, we worked at the same office, warehouse at the same thing, and we would deal with the courier guys directly. I learned the courier business inside out. I understood why is actual weight different from volumetric weight, which is different from this weight, which is different from something else. Why is there surcharge? Why is this? All kinds of random stuff. So by getting your hands dirty, I think today if I meet somebody and says, we're doing a much larger deal with someone and they're saying, hey, we have to do this, I can call their bullshit. I can say, hey, listen, no, I know. I've done this random stuff before and I know what's, to look forward to kind of thing. The other thing that's extremely important, what we've learned is you have to evolve, right? And I think evolving, all companies evolve, all companies also kind of move away from what they started doing earlier sometimes or do better stuff of what they're doing. I think what you need to do is also listen to yourself and keep challenging your own thought about what evolution for your company is. One is where your customers take you, one is where your market takes you. Those things are inevitable. But what is under your control is where you take yourself in the journey of your company. So, as I said, so from moving the quirky magnets and stuff like that all the way to even, selling rugs and cushions and furniture, I think we've decided that this is what we wanted to do going forward. So I'm saying, so for example, on the left is what you see is, this is the Chumbak that we started in 2010, this is the Chumbak that we have now. We've evolved, consumers have evolved. Again, left is what we used to do, right is what we do. So I think knowing yourself a lot more intimately than most people, I think that helps in this entire evolution. More examples of the same. Another large enough example was, in 2013 when we raised up Series A, one of the things that consumers got back, hey, listen, we can't see all of Chumbak at one place. So one of the things that we did is let's experiment with kiosks and, large traffic areas, which are malls. And we did these, we ended up opening about close to 50 of them, about 45 of these. And we loved them, the kind of stuff that we did. But somewhere in 2014, we figured, hey, listen, we're not giving it our all. We're not giving it our best. Product-wise, we feel that we can push the brand to do a lot more. And, the way we've done this. So this particular one is about 64 square feet. It's 8 feet by 8 feet. And this was representative of all what consumers saw of Chumbak. Sometime in middle of last year, we said, let's do this huge experiment. And let's try this out and do a 10x kind of much larger, 2,500 square feet, and let's see what we can do. So these are the Chumbak stores that we're now opening across the country, right? So I'll just show you some pictures of, from the earlier one to this. And these are the experiences that we're building. And unless we have thought about and wouldn't have evolved saying that we're not giving it our best or we can push this a lot more, we'd be stuck doing the smaller kiosks all the way through, right? So this is what we're opening. Another thing, what we've learned is definitely hire people smarter than you. I think this goes without saying. In most of the people that we hire, we look for you're being hired because you know more about this job or more about this role or more about this than I do. If I knew more about it, if I know more about finance than my CFO, either I'm the fool or he's the fool, one of us, right? So I think this is something that we encourage at this thing, and it evolves into this entire thing saying that there is no ego, there is no this thing. I've got another slide on what we believe is dead. So always hire people smarter than you. What also happens is that they're constantly wanting to learn. So smarter and hungrier people. I believe in this a lot. Culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? And then what we feel is that strategy is driven typically by a minority in the company, 3 or 4 people, maybe core team here and there. But culture is driven by the entire company, and that's why it's more important. Culture outlasts strategy like crazy. You may one day be selling something else and you're strategizing that, hey, let's do this. But the culture is what allows you to evolve, what allows you to, have huge experiments and go on. In fact, at Chumbak, we all have in our interview process what is known as a culture test. And this is done by, a person who's 22, 23 can be interviewing someone who's 45. Unless that person passes that culture test, there's no rocket science to it. It's about getting to know the person. It's about, are you going to come into my company and mess up the equilibrium that we're going, or, are you going to, mess that up. So I think again, culture eats strategy for breakfast, extremely important. Risk is a lovely word, right? So it's a porcupine on a rubber dinghy with piranhas at the bottom. So risk, I think, is an amazing word. Risk is something that got us to start Chumbak, in the sense that, as we said, it's only money. Money can be earned later, and selling the house. Literally, I mean, when I look back at it now, it was a 5-minute discussion that Shubhra and I had. Should we sell it? Should we not sell it? I mean, we'd have more discussions about the color of the couch than selling the entire house that came with it. The other risk, I think, is that admitting mistakes and experimenting is something that's extremely core to what we do at Chumbak. In fact, failure is something that's looked upon as an awesome thing, which I've got another couple of things to talk about. But always take these risks, because that shows that you're not sitting around doing nothing or enjoying what the fruits of something that you did earlier. This is another important thing that's dear to me. Eat the watermelon with the seeds, right? So, that's supposed to be me, by the way. I think the thing to draw out of this is, so I'll give an example, the good with the bad, or doing stuff that you would not typically do, but should be, I mean, you do it right now kind of thing. So I think, for example, when we earlier started out, we had these really nice, awesome products that were there, but we didn't have any of our own kiosks, or definitely not the stores. So we had to sell them through other people's, multi-branded outlets or departmental stores. And the only way we could have grown was to do it through them. And it irritated the hell out of me, because they really mismanaged our product. They treated it really badly. So I think you have to say that, okay, I need this right now, and then I'll take the good with the bad. While they were getting a huge amount of sales, the bad part was that they were mishandling product and it wasn't displayed well. So that's just one example, but eating watermelon with seeds, good with bad, is something that we've learned. That's very important. Hierarchy is dead, right? In typical startup, this thing, while you may have like a vice president or something, and large companies do get into that, but at a typical startup level, we feel that hierarchy, in fact, is really dead. So I'll give you 2 examples. Decision making becomes far faster in a team where hierarchy isn't something that to be a force to be reckoned with. So there is no one saying, let me check with my boss, let me check with this boss, and then this thing. Decisions are made quick, made by anybody, completely on merit. If you look at the other thing, the death of hierarchy encourages is cross-functional, chatting. There is no one saying that, hey, let me check with that person's boss and that person's this thing before doing this, or what happens. Anyone can talk to anyone in the company, and that, I think, is a really powerful thing that we've learned. And our organization is completely flat. While there are senior people and stuff, like even the way we sit, everybody has just one, way of, nobody has doors to knock on. Another thing that we've learned is failure kills routine, right? If you look at stuff that keeps going well, you've said that, hey, that's routine's head over there, by the way. Game of Thrones. So we're saying that routine makes you complacent, in the sense that something is going well, something is going according to plan kind of thing, and that's great, right? But the way failure, completely derails you from your plan and says, hey, listen, what you didn't work, you suck. So I think what happens is that people try a million other things to make it work and success to happen, right? And which goes back to the other thing, which is risk is awesome, experimentation is awesome. If you don't experiment, you will not fail. Yep. Perfection is a myth. I love saying that. Everybody, comes to us and says, we have to get this out, and the design team will say, hey, no, we need another 2 weeks to do it because that right color of red is there. All that's fine, and the things that matter to you, obsess about them. Be perfect. For us, design is something that's really, really core to us. We obsess about it. We say perfection in that. But stuff that, one of the things that we also look at is situations, if they demand perfection is something that's not important, go with it. So for example, one of the things that I say is that good today is better than perfect tomorrow. In an increasingly competitive world, you waiting for the perfect business plan or waiting to design the perfect logo is a waste of time, right? I mean, while drawing the circle of perfection, and you suddenly realize that you can do a whole lot more. I think the last 10th thing that we've learned is have fun, be random. Let the company give freedom to people in the company to run side projects, to be entrepreneurs by themselves, let them think like that. So I think I just got one example of us being random. Are these stickers on Facebook? It actually came about from some of the discussions that we were having. I'd like to say chai, but it was beer. Saying that, why should I be texting people with a Snoopy thing or a Garfield thing, whereas we say it very differently in India, right? We use a lot of colloquial, we use a lot of regional languages while chatting, and there's a lot of, slang that's been used. So we decided to call up Facebook and said, we called them at Melno Park and said, hey, listen, we have this idea that we'd like to do India-focused emoticons. It's never been done before. And they said, oh, are you a media company? Are you a character design? I said, we are none of that. But this is something that's really, something that we want to take on. So we launched the first one, Chumbak Expressions, and Chumbak Back, and then find another character design. Random thing like this, over 3.5 million people a day use it. And that's just amazing. We don't make any money out of it, but it just gets the word out there, and it's like a satisfaction of having done something random and having fun while doing it, right? I think just to the other newer companies and the thing, saying that this is a thought, saying that I'm not afraid at all. I was born to do this and lead a life of entrepreneurship, right? That's it. Thank you so much. Another question, please?
Quick question, Vivek. So what's the random thing that you're working on now? What side project are we likely to see come out of Chumbak?
So actually we have a thought which we've been sitting along with, saying that what defines Chumbak, right? So one of the things that we've been doing is we figured that what's our philosophy in life. We don't have a vision statement. We don't have, I didn't have a business plan till the VCs got involved, right? So we said that let's figure out what the ethos of Chumbak is. And that's to make people happy. It doesn't matter how we do it. So I think the random things, I'll tell you the random things that we do. Store openings. We give, instead of, people give some free gifts, we give fortune cookies. But each of those fortune cookies are really random thoughts in them, saying that 10 minutes after reading this, you'll wonder why you didn't eat the fortune cookie before reading this. Or don't trust the last fortune cookie when it said that you do this. Or you're going to be hungry 10 minutes later, just eat the damn biryani or whatever, right? So I'm saying that's one. The other thing is the entire make happy philosophy. Random things that people, when they don't expect it, it makes them happy. So and these are things that we don't talk about. These are things that are just done and, consumers should notice. For example, we do a small little coloring book that goes along with all the orders. It's just random Chumbak designs or even other designs with 5 primary color plus black and this thing of crayons, where you say just, life is tough, take a break and color. It just makes happy. So I think these are the small little random things that the big thought is make happy, but those are the small random things that we do.
Vivek, thanks very much for joining us here in Young Turks and sharing your life lessons with us. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
The Young Turks Mentors